Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all our trash reality TV we love to hate. I am Danica, and today we are going to be discussing, surprise, surprise, Perfect Match. So, I know I said that I was going to be doing the Ultimatum South Africa before doing Perfect Match, but I'm still going to be doing South Africa. Don't you worry, I'm not finished with it. I'm so in, and it's just, there's so many things I had to get finished up. We have Love in Paradise finally now done, which you'll be getting that episode very soon. We have Lovers and Liars we had to finish up, so at least those couple of things are now done, and we can kind of get some of this stuff done. And I finally got an episode ready to go, so I wanted to get it done for you. But without further ado, we're not going to do anything on top of the episode. We're just going to get right into it. So, the Perfect Match. Episode 1. I don't remember the title of it. I haven't been writing down the titles. We're just going to kind of do this bullet point type style. So let's go into it. So, did anyone notice that Nick's robe is definitely a choice in this first episode? Like, what's going on here? But we meet, I believe I wrote Dominique, who apparently is bisexual. So this should definitely be interesting. We kind of got a little taste of that with Francesca in the first season, so we'll see how that goes. We got Micah. She's here. And she says that she is a catch. Yes, you are. Fuck Paul. And she's like, I got a big butt, so like, what's the problem? We meet Kaz, who is definitely a yummy man. But I can tell you by like the second episode, I'm like, you're really hot, but you're so fucking annoying that I don't find you hot anymore. Anyways. And then we got Izzy, who's crushing on Micah. So, Izzy, are you only crushing on Micah because you're both from the same show? Anyway, so we'll see how that turns out. We got Harry, who apparently is going to be an interesting addition to the show. He said he didn't want to be on the first season because, well, I had 3 of my exes on that season, so I can't remember who the third one was, but we had Francesca as one of them. Georgia's another one, the one who won with Dom last season. More on that to come in a second. And then there was another person as well. I can't remember who the other person was, but he's fucked around. That's the gist of it, basically. So yeah, Georgia, kind of more on her with this whole situation and how she fits into this, apparently cheated on Dom with Harry. Who the fuck cheats on Dom? It's because he's too much of a puppy dog? Is that the problem? I mean, what's wrong with that? Anyways. But here comes Nick. And again, we're going to be having the first game kind of here ready to start going, which is basically like a let it roll type situation. It's kind of like one of those like sex games type thing, you know, when you have two dice, is it die? Die is plural. Anyways, so that's kind of what they're doing. They're like big versions of those die. But anyway, kind of going through it a little bit. You kind of have, I think how it went was, someone had to roll it and then you got to pick the person who did it. I can't remember. I watched this episode a couple of weeks ago. But basically, we have Micah having to do a body shot. I think it was off of Henry. We had Dominique roll. Oh, you rolled a person and then they had to do an action. Got it. So yeah, Dominique rolls Brighton and it's a truth or dare. And she's like, what is your favorite sex position? And he's like, well, you know the one when the legs are touching the headboard? Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. It's a great way to hit one's G-spot. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, and then we have Elise rolls Harry, and it's 2 truths and a lie. So Harry says he just wants to walk away. I mean, he did whatever. But anyways, he says that he just wants to walk away with someone with no STDs or walk away with no STDs. Like him, I think, yeah, him walk away with no STDs. Well, where you're going, my guy, that potentially could happen. I'm just saying. I'm sure they check everybody to make sure, though. I'm sure it's fine. Next is Devin, and it's a body shot on someone. Can't remember who it was. I didn't write it down. I was still struggling with people's names at this point. But he does it off of her toes. I think it was Xanthi, if I remember correctly. It was Xanthi. Yeah, and he ended up actually sucking her toes in the process instead, which is a choice, to say the least. Anyway, we then have Kaz. Apparently has made all of his women squirt for the most part. That's really freaking great to know, my guy. Izzy rolls Micah. And I'm not sure what the other thing was. I can't remember, but Kaz ends up doing a lap dance on somebody. I wrote fuck, he's hot, but like I said, he gets annoying for me after a while, so don't you worry. He did it on Tulum, who I fucking love. I love Tulum. Anyway, Nick is like, I think we broke the ice. You think? He's like, I'll leave now. Tonight you got a pair up, so let's do this. So Harry says, don't judge me on my previous red flags, sir. You have fucked most of the women on the Netflix universe. Like, really? Anyways. Georgia, apparently, so Georgia, my girl, was she not too hot to handle? It's starting to make sense for me. Because didn't Harry say, okay, so she cheated on Dom with Harry, but then she cheated on Harry with Tyga. Jesus, she cheated on you with the person who decided to fuck Kylie Jenner. Are you kidding me? Anyways, let's move on. Dominique is like, we will watch the Nutcracker every year. Okay, me and Brighton, because the Nutcracker is like one of her favorite things, I guess. Then her and Brighton match. So we got our first match of the night. Then we got our second match with Elise and Harry. Very reluctantly on Elise's part. She's heard things. He might not be able to be trustworthy. Who knows? Then we got Izzy. And he talks to Micah. And Tulu basically dips as she's, talking, as he's talking to Micah, because clearly he's trying to make a move on Micah. But it's really awkward. Izzy's really fucking awkward. He's like, yeah, so I watch your socials. You watch your what now? Izzy, no. Because that gives stalker vibes. He's like, you got a dog, huh? What? No. Fuck no. I don't. I don't know who the fuck you're looking at. Seriously. Just no game with him. But, oh no, he says, I have no game. He says, I have no game. And he gets like, what would you say if you did? Like, she said that, what would you say if you did? And he's like, I don't know. Maybe I could say something like, how are you? Nope, no game. No game. How is this the person that everyone was fighting for during season 4? 5, sorry, it was 5, I think. Yeah, like, how is this? Like, you have freaking Lydia fighting over Izzy. There was someone else who was fighting over Izzy. What was her name? Johnny. You had Johnny fighting over Izzy. You had what's-her-face, who's too good for debt, fighting over him, too. And it's like, how did this guy get 3 women fighting over him in the pod? It's like, I'm so confused. Anyway, Micah is like, Izzy seems great, he really does, but he's also really nerdy, and that reminds me of Paul, so it's a no from me, doc. Okay. So then she talks to Kaz, and Kaz says, you're in my top 2. Me in my top 2. And she has a crush on him for sure, you can tell. She's like, so do you want a match tonight? And Kaz is like, oh, shit, you see about that? He's like, let's wait. Let's hold on. We should talk to other people first. And, if we don't find the right person, then sure, we can circle back. What? This man is literally like, I'm trying to see if there's something else better out there before I match with your ass. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. Yeah, so I think during this whole conversation, let me set the scene for those who didn't watch the episode. You had Izzy on one side. You had Kaz on the other side with Micah in the middle. Izzy's trying to shoot his shot with Kaz literally right there, which could have been added to the awkwardness, honestly. And she literally does like, like you're talking to someone, they need to do the so to Cass. Like it's Cass, what about you? She's not at all interested. It was so funny. So yeah, he gets the hint and he goes and talks to Tulu. So he's handling himself a lot better with her. He doesn't seem to be as nervous with her. And he's like, so you want a match? And I say yes. So we have our second match. It was the second match, right? So, of the night. Then we got Stefan. He's like, I'm a good boy, And I think either I wrote this or someone else said this, or like, that's not a thing. But he's talking to Xanthi, and she was a good girl, but you sucked my toe, so, but asked to match, and she says, no, it's gonna be a no for right now, even though I sucked my toe in your mouth. Like, it's gonna be a no for me. Thank you. Then Xanthi talks to Kaz, and she keeps talking about her being Greek and all of this, and then she does this accent that sounds kind of Italian, not Greek, but who am I? But then Kaz and Xanthi match at that point, so there's our third match. Steven says toxic can be good, right? What? Nobody ever. But anyways, at that point, though, Micah and Steven end up matching, so there we got our next match. Then we have Brian and Dominique, and they're fighting about working out, this is not going to be the end of their fighting and shit. We'll get to it. And basically, they're fighting because she likes to do yoga, and she sees that as a workout, which obviously, yes, it is. Let's see fucking Brighton do yoga. And he's like, that's not fucking working out. That's not working out. That's not over such Pilates, sure, but that's not working out. Asshole. But are you seriously fighting over what you see as working out? Like, this is so stupid. But anyways, she's like, we shouldn't be fighting, but he's so hot and he's sexy and it's kind of a turn on. What? Who hurt you that you think that this is the way to go? Anyway, they match. So it's the next morning. We got a challenge and there are cages hanging over the body of water. And we're going to be testing your physical chemistry. You have to do some motion of the ocean bullshit. If you get my drift, they're going to be humping their way across the body of water. You heard me right. And this is at the point where I think, I guess, before seeing episode 2, where I'm like, Cass is hot, but he's full of himself. This is where the downhill starts to come. Because he's kind of like, I made women squirt. I know how to fuck. Okay? I know how to use my hips. So, of course I'm going to be able to get across this thing faster because I know how to fuck. Motherfucker, are you for real? Jesus Christ. Anyway. Yes, this was Brighton and Dominique. And he's being such a dick where he's like, what did you major in school? And she's like, engineering, you mother. And he's like, yeah, but are you kidding me? What's that? Anyway, the challenge is underway, and I literally wrote what the fuck is going on. Harry and Elise end up winning this challenge, though, because apparently he too knows how to fuck. According to Kaz, if that's the way he wants to go. They got the date, and they will be going to the boardroom. Do you remember the boardroom? We're going to remember the boardroom in just a minute. Tulu was like, Harry was like, for a thrust, and I'm done. And you kind of see, I can't remember who it was. Who's JP? Did I write JP? I just don't remember who the fuck I'm talking about. But anyways, I just need a little more time to get to the finish line. That's all. But Brian is talking down to Dominique at this point because they lost. And it's just like, you're an asshole. Like, I could instantly tell this guy's an asshole. And she's kind of emotional. And she's trying to stand up for herself, but she clearly gets off on this, and it's not okay. Anyway, Harry does love sex, that he says, don't we all? But he wants to be in love with someone before he lets little Harry back out again. Yeah. So they are on their date, him and Elise, and they talk all kinds of different things. They talk about the boardroom, cheating, the whole thing, about his reputation and stuff. But now it's the boardroom time. And we got the rundown of the board again, where you have the matches below, you have the incomers. You choose who you want to choose, and you choose either for yourself or other people in the house. So they have the power to bring, obviously, 2 different people in here. It's going to be 2 guys into the house. Elise does not want to match with any of these guys, so we're good to go. Harry's like, so none of these guys have foreskins? What? The fuck? I mean, my understanding of what foreskin is, well, foreskin. Is there another connotation to this that I just don't understand because I'm too old? Like, I'm so confused. Anyway, yeah, so none of these people have foreskin, whatever. So they log in Chris with Dominique. We're gonna meet Chris in a minute. We then log. Well, with this, they're trying to figure out who to bring in. They're trying to figure out who they want to match this person with. And Dom's on the board. Dom, my guy Dom, is on the board. And Harry doesn't necessarily want to bring Dom on into the house because that pesky thing about George cheating on him with Harry. Yeah, he doesn't really want to confront that, but we'll get to it. So they go back to the house and they tell them who they are sending on dates. And we see Tulum waiting. Well, before we get to that, when they say who the people are going to be going on a date, which is obviously Dominique and Tulum, Izzy's definitely shitting a brick. But we see Tulum waiting for her date. And she's real excited to see none other than Dom. So Harry did put his shit aside and brought Dom on. And he's going to switch shit up. Dom is a gorgeous man. And not only that, he's a sweet, gorgeous man. So there's kind of that. But that's kind of it for episode 1. We're going to take a quick break here and we will transition into episode 2. And I am back. Let's head into episode 2. So, we are here again with Jalou seeing Izzy, sorry, not Izzy, Dom. And she's like, I like Izzy, but Dom, cute. They're sitting down talking and she's like, oh, Dom, you should have, not shouldn't have, should, because you should. I can't remember exactly what it was she was talking about, but I thought it was funny. Then they are like, Jinx, because it says something at the same time. They're just so cute. It's rom-com plus Dom. Put that on a t-shirt, please. Then we see Dominique waiting for her date, and here comes Chris. He's from Dated and Related, and never saw the show, so I have no clue who this person is. But they're doing paddleboarding, and Chris asks, so what about your other match? What's going on there? And she's like, well, he is a big personality. That's one fucking way to put it. Then he asks about her experience from Too Hot to Handle, and she's like, well, I met a girl, and he just gets very weird. Hold on to that. We'll get to that again in the next episode. He says, no, she's cute, but let me fucking cook a minute. You can't just serve me raw. You gotta let me cook, let me simmer. Get the juices and the seasoning. Get this fucking guy. Then we're back in the house and they keep calling Xanthi Zimbabwe. Why? First of all, she's not even African. She's Greek. Secondly, how does Xanthi sound like Zimbabwe? I'm so confused. It's the men. That's all I'm going to say. People think Brighton is most likely going home because he can't shut the fuck up. We'll say that in a minute. Micah is not about Stefan right now. And then Dominique and Chris enter the chat. And again, what the fuck is the foreskin shit? I'm so confused. Anyway, then we see Tulum and Dom enter the chat as well. But Dom is a little slower coming in. And Izzy's like, oh, she's alone. I feel really good. Like, I'm going to be here, right? No. He then sees Dom and he's like, oh, I'm screwed. I can't compete. No, Izzy. I mean, not to say you're not a good looking guy. You definitely are. But then there's fucking Dom. He probably doesn't have any debt. Kidding. Kidding. So apparently, Dom and Harry are friends, although one stole your girl. But, anyways, but that's okay. It's kind of, I guess it's kind of like a girl is mine type of situation. Like the girl version of the boy is mine. Because it's like, fuck Georgia. We don't need her. We're going to be friends. It's going to be fine. And then in walks Nick to fuck the party up, as always. Anyways, so how the dates go? Nick wants to know on Tulu's like combos were flowing naturally. It was really great. And Dominic is like, I feel at peace. And Brian's like, ooh, because you ain't peaceful, my guy. Then Izzy decides, you know what, let me shoot my shot again with Micah because clearly I'm not going to be able to shoot my shot with Tulu because she's going to pick Dom because I don't stand a chance. And Micah says, I might switch something up. So, Kaz, what about you? What's going on? Again, y'all. Again. Remember in the first episode, she did that before too. And this time she's like, so, Kaz. And Izzy's like, let's have a chat in front of Kaz. He does this, and Micah's like, so, Kaz, let's go chat. Like, she's literally telling you, Izzy, I'm not interested. And you are missing the boat. But anyways, both of them say their OG matches. It's not really working. And they're like, well, I like you. So she's kind of, I guess, kind of playing the game a little bit here. And they're going to go talk to their respective original people and kind of figure out if they can do kind of like a switch up, kind of like a wife swap type situation. And Cass goes to Steven, so maybe we should swap. And Micah goes to Xanthi, and she's like, I'm good with you going after Cass. And she's trying to get to know Steven more, so there we go. We're going to be doing a switch up. Micah goes to Steven, and she's like, we got a plan going. He's like, oh shit, you too? Because I do too. It's amazing. So we got our two first matches of the night with Micah and Kaz and Steven and Xanthi. It's unbelievable. Then we see Tulu talking to Izzy, and she just doesn't know what to do. Then Dom talks to Tulu, and he tells her there is no one else he's interested in. And she's like, Izzy is mature, and it's great, but with that said, Dom, do you want a match? So our third match for the night is Tulu and Dom. And she then goes to Izzy to tell him, so yeah, I ended up matching with Dom. But Izzy is definitely handling it well. He knew it was going to happen. So Izzy's like, there is no one else I'm interested in here. So he takes himself out. So he's gone. That was really short-lived. We enjoyed our time with you, Izzy. Yet again, at least this time you bowed out before the end. That's great. Then Harry and Elise are kind of arguing about her putting walls up because of the things that she has seen and heard about Harry, which I get it. And she just wants some time to kind of figure things out. But with that said, they are going to be matching. So we got our fourth match of the night. Brighton is like, I have no concerns. I have none. Of course not. How are you going to pick Prince Charming? Because what they keep calling Chris over me. Like, what? You're going to go after Prince Eric and you can have me? But Dominique is like, you look like Flynn Rider from Tangled. Or, sorry, she said Tingled. She meant Tangled. And he's like, Tingled? Tingled? But he says, yeah, I get that a lot. Y'all, if you haven't watched this episode yet, if you haven't seen Chris yet, you need to look at this guy. If you know Flynn Rider, he looks kind of like him. It's kind of spooky. Anyways, Chris is like, I'm only interested in you. I want nobody else here. Then she goes to talk to Brighton, but they're flirty. So she's probably going to pick Brighton. That's what I wrote here. But he literally says, I want to fight with you. Roll your eyes again. I want to fight with you. It's kind of kinky. It kind of reminds me of like when in 50 Shades when she would roll her eyes at him and he's like, Do you spoil your eyes on me? And then he would go take her to the red room. Like, that's what it feels like. It's so fucked up. But while they're talking, Chris asks Elise, because Elise and Chris are actually friends. And he's like, is there something going on with them? Yes, sir, because you just got here and we've been doing this for a minute, you know? And she's like, no, I mean, why would you think that? Because at least you see what I see. Like, really? And she's like, that's why we put you on the date with her, because there's nothing there. No, there's something there. It's toxic, but there is something there. She's like, go cock block. Like, what's the problem here? Like, why are you here talking to me, Mr. Flynn Rider? Go cock block. Right? Then he walks up to them and Chris is like, okay, Dom, make a choice. Dominic, make a choice. What's going on here? Then the pissing contest starts at this point. And Brian is like, well, you're not going to be like disrespecting me or her. And Dominic is like, you guys, excuse me. It's not that serious. She's like, but they're still fighting with each other. And she literally says, okay, kiss then, bye. And she walks off with Elise and she's like, maybe I should just be with a girl at this point. And she's like, or maybe I should pick Chris because what the fuck? Now, in this moment, yes, did Brighton take it a step too far? Sure. But I kind of understood why he acted the way he did, because here you have Prince Charming who just showed up here kind of be like, you need to make a fucking choice. And it's like, calm the fuck down, my guy. You just got here. Give it a minute. Shit. Anyway, then Dominique and Brighton talk again. And he's like, so are you picking Prince Charming or what's going on here? And she's like, Chris is his name. He's like, I don't care. He's like, literally, okay, same thing. But she tells him, realistically, this is not going to work outside of here. And he literally says to her, well, good luck, and walks off. So I guess she's matching with Chris, and that is a wrap on Brighton. It was really nice knowing you. Anyways, we got another challenge now. It's the next day. And there are these colored squares that's kind of going on. Nick is like, any clue what we're going to be doing here? Crickets. Literally, like, crickets. And he's like, the kissing challenge, you doof. Like, this is what we're going to be doing. So if you remember from last season, they did a kissing thing. There weren't colored squares or anything. It was pretty low production, honestly. But they're going to be doing kissing yet again. So everyone is going to be kissing everyone. Let's fuck off with the fact that we had COVID. Everyone's going to be kissing everyone. And you'll be rating the kiss from 1 to 10. 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. So obviously we're not going to go through every little situation here, but I'm going to go through some of it. So Kaz is like, I'm the best kisser. I wonder why you would think that. Because you're fucking full of yourself, my guy. You're so hot, but you're full of yourself. Steven misses the lips when kissing Xanthi, which is really funny. Harry says, I got the best breath. It smells like unicorn farts. What does that smell like? I'm really curious, seeing as they don't exist. So the farts definitely don't exist. But anyways, Tulu is like, my Nigerian parents are gonna lose it if they see me kissing these random people. But now the results are in. Steven's high score is 6, which was Tulu. Low was 2, which was Micah. Xanthi didn't participate, so they lost. Dom's high score was 7, and that was Tulu. Low was 4, and that was Micah. Poor thing. Tulu was a 9. What made it so good for her? And she says, I guess it was in sync. Bye to Nick. Because he's like, really? Really? You have to talk about my boy band rival? Like, are you serious? It's okay. It's okay. Even if some people don't know who 98 Degrees was, Sharon, for example, is one of those people. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can head back over to, I think it was last year's Love is Blind, last season 5, Love is Blind, where I discovered that she doesn't know who 98 Degrees is. And I cried. Anyways. So Nick's face was just golden though. Anyway, her low was 4 and it was Chris. Sorry, Prince Charming. She said it was just not memorable. Dom was ranked a 5. So her highest was not Dom. It was somebody else. I can't remember who that was. So that sucks. Chris's high score was a 7 and it was Elise. Interesting. And the low was 4 and it was Dominique. Not great. He's like, it could have been worse. Dominique's high was 9 and it was Chris. Interesting. Anyways, Harry's high was 10 and it was Micah. And his low was 2 and it was Dominique. He gave Elise an 8. Not bad, not bad. He said he knew it was her though, which is kind of, I don't know how to feel. Elise's high was 9 and it was Harry. Kaz's high was a 10 and it was Micah. And her high was a 10 and it was Kaz. Which means whoever gets the collective high score, the couple that gets the collective high score, is the winners. And that, without even a thought, is Micah and Kaz. Which means they won the challenge and they go to the boardroom, but it's daytime first. They're doing some dance lessons. It's fun. Micah wants to split Harry and Elise up to kind of mix shit up. Well, we're going to see how much mixing up that is going to create when we head into the 3rd episode. But before we do, we're going to take a break here. And when we come back, we will head in to the 3rd and final episode for our episode. And I am back. And now we're heading into the 3rd episode, which is the final one for this episode. So let's get into it. So we're doing synchronized swimming. Fun. Step back to the juice. So we are headed to the boardroom and we got single ladies coming in. We got Holly from Do Ought to Handle. We have Jess from Love is Blind. We have Melinda from Do Ought to Handle and some chick from Dated and Related. I missed it, but anyways, Cass recognizes 2 of them. Obviously, the one from Dated and Related is one of those people. So they pair Harry with Jess because why not? They say that she's basically his type, and we're gonna see how good of a match they really did have with this. Then they do want to bring in Laura with Steven. And that is exactly what they do. When they go out to the house, they tell everybody. And Steven's like, oh, so you're testing us. That's what you're doing. Okay. So Steven is on his date and he meets Laura and he's feeling like a kid in a candy store with her. He's, she's gorgeous. He's loving it. It's all great. They go on an ATV ride to this very pretty waterfall. And she's like, so what about your match, Steven? Like, what's going on there? Is it going good? He's like, well, yeah. And he's like, well, Kaz actually matched me with you. And she's like, oh, really? Is that true? And he's like, yeah, who did you date on Dated and Related? And she's like, his brother. And he's like, oh. Then we see Harry waiting for his date. And in walks my girl, Jessica, from Love is Blind, season 6. Love her. And I'm so happy she's here. And of course, we get the iconic scene from Love is Blind, season 6, where she says, you're going to need an EpiPen because you're going to choke when you see me. I'm the same one. Because you're literally going to have someone who's going to be like, What? Oh, God. I can't remember anything from that season now. But, oh my God. Jimmy, man. Anyway. So, she says that the men she tends to kind of gravitate to are tall. And she likes bearded men. So I'm like the complete opposite of Jimmy. That's about right. Harry is loving it as well. He says, I am creaming in my pants right now. And I literally wrote, you're fucking gross. Ew. She says a funny man is important to her. And he gives her like this fake leaf thing that apparently was also in his mouth that maybe she can just put in her hair or something. Great. It's really awkward leaf. It's really, really awkward. And then she asks about like his match in the house. And he's like, Well, it's been good, but you know what? It kind of feels more like a friendship. What the fuck are you talking about? Because it didn't appear that way for the viewers. More on that in a minute. But it's just like, what are you talking about? He says that he's looking for marriage, of course. And Harry seems actually pleasantly happy to hear about her daughter. And he's like, let's meet her now. Can we meet her now? And he says that he loves kids and he has a lot of respect for single mothers. This is going great. Better than Jimmy. But Jimmy literally shit his pants when he found out she was a single mother. Anyways, he says that she is the most amazing person he has ever met. Interesting. How this is going to turn out. Back at the house, Dom is trying to guess who's going to be coming into the house. And then we see Harry and Jessica walk into the house. And he does hug Elise when he gets into the house, but he is kind of ignoring her at the same time. And she's like, hello, I'm right the fuck here. Do you want to fucking talk to me? Asshole. She's like, I'm now second guessing Micah's intentions now to pair Harry with somebody. And it's like, well, this is the game, honey. The game is to fuck up people's connections because you're trying to win at the end of this. If you guys are too fucking stable, well, then you probably are going to win. Don't want that. Anyway, and then we see Steven and Alara coming in, and of course, in Moxnick. Harry mentions there were a lot of green flags with his date with Jess. And they're like, so no red flags? No, not a single one. What do you mean? Harry is the biggest red flag in the situation. Someone says, I can't remember who that was, but it was funny. But now it's time to start matching. Two people are obviously heading home. Dominique is clearly bored with Chris because she is used to the chaos that she had with Brighton and past relationships, so she's bored. But then I wrote, wait, what the fuck is this conversation? Because he kind of is talking about her bisexuality and how he's okay with her exploring this, or I feel like he actually fit himself into that by saying something around the lines of, I'm good with exploring that. And it's like, this is not an exploration for you. And basically, I think is implying that he's cool with her being bisexual because somehow it's going to benefit him. And she's like, the fuck? And she says, I'm monogamous. I'm not trying to have threesomes. You know, there's that age old bullshit that because a woman's bisexual that they're going to want threesomes. That's not me. Like, what the fuck? Like, you're just kind of feeding that stereotype, which is very dangerous because it's like, enough, men. Stop being gross and realize that women are not here for your entertainments. Again, I've said this before previously. This is under a different connotation. We're not here for your entertainment. And it's because someone is a bisexual who is attracted to men and women does not mean that you, man, are going to have a threesome with another woman. It doesn't fucking work that way. There are some that do, but that's not everybody. And the fact that he just assumed that that's what's going to happen is definitely making sense for the reason why he acted the way he did in the second episode when he found out that she was bisexual. It's fucked up. He's like, oh, okay. I think with that said, I'm going to have to take some time to think about it. About fucking what? That you can't have a threesome with this girl so she's no longer useful to you? Fuck you. Ugh, he's gross. Then he goes and talks to Elise, and he's like, so what are your plans for tonight? And she says, I had tunnel vision on Harry, so she's not fully there with having another connection with somebody else. Plus, she hasn't even really had a conversation with him yet, with Harry yet, about what's kind of going on here. And he says, well, maybe I could talk to Xanthe. This is Chris. And she's like, I don't know about that. Okay, all right, what about Alara? Alara seems cool. She's new. I'm new. You know, we could connect on that. I don't know. And he's like, what about Slew? And she's like, are you fucking okay? No. The answer is fucking no. This guy's not fucking okay. He's literally hopscotching between all the women thinking, oh, well, that's gonna land. Are you fucking, oh God, this guy. I think I literally wrote, what the fuck is this man? Then we see Tolu and Dom talking, and she's feeling good. She's like, I'm feeling him. I feel good about this. It's great. How are you feeling though, Dom? Well, Dom says this little nugget. He says, listen, I don't want to be like a puppy dog following people around. It didn't benefit me last time. Well, it kind of did. You won. It was unfortunate that Georgia cheated on you after, but that doesn't mean that the game didn't work. It did. And he's like, he just doesn't want to do that this time. And he says that he wants to explore his options. So he wants to just kind of go there. And Tulu's like, alrighty then. Do what you gotta do then. Alora seems to be feeling Dom a little bit. She's like, he's sexy. And then silence among the women when she says that, though, about Dom. And it's like, because he's just sitting in front of Tulu as well. And it's just like, girl. But anyway, Jess tells the women about what Harry told her about Elise being more of a friend vibe. And all of the women are like, what? And it's like, no. No. He's a part of one of the strongest couplings in this house, which is probably why they brought him on the date to test everything out. Then Tulu takes said information to Elise and tells her what Jess said. But with this info, she still kind of seems that she wants to stick by him, which is like, no, this guy literally dismissed you in so many words, and you want to still potentially pursue something with him? No. But when he kind of walks by her, she's like, hey, Harry, we should have a fucking talk, because all this time, he still hasn't attempted to even try and talk to her, which is really fucked up. So they do talk, and he's like, what the fuck with the ignoring with me? And I was told to trust you, but apparently I'm just your friend. Like, what the fuck? And he's like, okay, well, can I speak now? She's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. He's like, I do think we were a good match, but I'm here for my perfect match. I thought she was your perfect match. So listen, no hatred on Jess, because I love her, but it's like, so Jess comes into the house, and all of a sudden, Elise is now just a good match. She's not the perfect match. Like, what? Like, be real. And he's like, you have like your boundaries. We haven't had sex or anything. Like, I'm respecting your boundaries. I'm like, so then why are you bringing it up? If you're respecting her boundaries, why are you even bringing it up? And he said, she says, I just wish you told me. He's like, but we're talking now, aren't we? I hate that shit when it's like, when you say you should have just told me, and they resort to, well, we're talking now though, aren't we? Yes, sure, but this conversation never would have happened if I didn't start the conversation. It's so dumb. He says, I think you are a great person, and I enjoy being your friend. And she's like, your friend? Okay. Like, what? He's like, but I think Jessica is amazing. Okay, she's so much better than you. But yeah, she's so amazing. It's just everything that I was looking for, and I would be doing a disservice to not only me, but to you if I don't pursue that. You see, maybe you could go talk to Dom or something. And she's like, so you're going to pit me out to your friends? I don't fucking think so. She's like, I'm just going to leave. And they're kind of going back and forth about how he's not saying enough to kind of, I guess, make her stay or something. Or, you know how some people you'll kind of see in these episodes, I'm about to leave and you're not even trying to say anything or trying to make me stay and all this. And it's just like, but he's literally telling you that he doesn't care if you stay or if you do go. That he doesn't see the connection with you. So now you're asking for something that he cannot provide you. Or better yet, you shouldn't even be asking for, because this man has literally said deuces. Like, don't lower yourself to get some, I don't know, satisfaction from this man. Like, it's ridiculous. And when she questions him, like, you're not going to say anything. And he's like, well, if you love them, you let them go, right? Wow. Yeah, because you do. What Marcus Houston said in that song. Yeah. Then she is just crying, and someone goes and says to him, like, she's crying now because of what she said to her. Like, that's not a good look. And he's like, that's not my problem. And technically it's not, because if he says like, I'm moving on, if she wants to act that, she wants to still cry and shit, cool, cool, cool. But like, it's not really my problem. But at the same time, it is your problem, because you made this girl believe that there was something here. And the minute that something better came along, you ditched her in mere hours. It's insane. But then Micah and Kaz match throughout the chaos, but they're still going to stay down there because they want to see the chaos unfold. Then Harry apparently branded Jess by giving her his watch. Don't get it. But she does say, I was told a lie about the connection with you and Elise. And, well, with Harry and Elise, I don't think she's actually talking to her at this point. And she kind of needs to get down to the bottom of that. And he comes to talk to her, and she's like, ugh, like, do I have to? But they talk anyway, and he's feeding her lies about the women just don't want each other to leave, and that's why they're telling you all of this. Like, it's not, basically trying to say it's not true, but it is true, you know? And she says, I will not be in the graveyard of your exes. Here we go with another one-liner. Jess, you're amazing. Just chef's kiss. You're right. I don't want to be in the graveyard of your exes. It's amazing. Anyway, she's like, I have a young and impressionable girl at home, so anything that I do, I have to make sure that I'm doing for her. I have to make sure that she has to be so aware of the men she brings into her life that is going to set an example for her daughter, you know, her 10-year-old daughter. So I totally get her. So he kind of explains to her that, listen, I came here because I want to find the perfect person for me. I want to marry somebody. I'm dating to get married. And I just didn't see that with Elise. And maybe that's true, but you're still either A, lying to Jessica or not telling her the full truth, or you play Elise. Either way, you don't look fucking good, my guy, but nonetheless, he wants to show her what he's all about, and he wants to match with her, you know, to kind of show her that. And she says, listen, I'm going to tell you this. I'm the last person you want to mess with. But yes, we can match. So there we got our next match of the night. Meanwhile, Elise is magically still here after the bullshit that happened with Harry. And Chris talks to her, and he's like, listen, I'm just not sure about Dominique because she's bisexual, but she doesn't want to have threesomes. Like, jeez. And she hates that Harry can stay in the house while she can't, because she again feels like she's been screwed over, which I totally get. And Chris says, maybe I should just match with you. I mean, after all, I trust you, you know? So fuck it, let's match. And there is another match for the night. Yikes. Elise is like, Harry is going to be real surprised when he wakes up and sees me in the house tomorrow. So is Dom. Monique, well, she won't be in the house anymore because she's definitely leaving. Which sucks. I feel for her. I actually do like Dominique. I think she just got unfortunately handed the shitty end of the stick here. Maybe Brighton was someone she could have stuck with until she found someone better. I mean, I was confused as she picked Chris, honestly. So, but anyway, that's kind of that. And that's the end of the episode. That is your first episode of Perfect Match, episodes 1 to 3. We will work on getting the other episodes. There's a long weekend coming up here in Canada soon, so I'll be able to kind of just get the shit done, get them out to you. But with that, there probably will not be any episodes coming out on Monday. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, we'll see. But with that, that is it for this episode of Perfect Match Season 2. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps, every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2@hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Week Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube, and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.